Hi, I'm Dori Bachman, and today is September the 8th, 2014, and I'm near Skokie, Illinois. And I'm fortunate enough to say that I was married to Lowell Bachman of Paragear Equipment Company for 38 years prior to his passing away in 2008. Lowell and I met in the late 60s when jumping was quite different than it is today. The equipment was very unique and weighed a ton. And after we got married, we spent gobs and gobs of weekends at drop zones judging parachute meets with telemeters, and which is nobody knows anything about them in this day and age with all the electronics that we have today. Spent a lot of time in Muskogee and Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And why we ever went there, I'll never know, because if anybody knows anything about Oklahoma, they know about the winds. So every day we would get up at the break of dawn, start jumping when the sun came up, stopped at noon, waited for the wind to die down, and start all over again about 4 o'clock and jump till it got dark. And this happened year after year after year between Muskogee and Tahlequah, but nobody learned their lesson. We just kept going back. But it was interesting. I didn't spend as much time in the sport. I mean, I was there because Lowell judged all the meets, because at that point then I had 2 children, Kurt and Chris, and if anybody that has kids know, you use one eye on where you are and the other eye on what we used to call the rugrats. And but it was, met some just absolutely wonderful people in the sport, and which are still friends today, and I'm so thankful for all of this friendship. And let's see, we started going to, I guess it was in Tahlequah when we did the Riggers Conventions over there, and we did that for years and had a lot of fun with Jack Bergman and the Friendship Saloon and Otley and Schneider and all the guys, and Schneider and his airplanes, and it was quite an interesting time, and lots of fun stories that you can go on and on about forever, but there's only so much time that we could talk about those stories. So then, after the Riggers Convention, we started the first Parachute Symposium in 1981, which was the suggestion of Paul Thompson, who was the rigger at Paragear. And as you can see, it's been a wonderful, successful endeavor ever since. A lot of work, and Pat Thomas has been running it for the last few years. Prior to that, Mike Beck did it, and Lucia Furry took it on at one point, and boy, I just can't remember all the people who dedicated so much of their time, their energy, and their money to putting this on and making the sport where it is today. And then we're going back to other things that we've accomplished. Was in, I believe it was like 1972, Bill Otley, Kurt Curtis, Chris Needles, and Lowell got together and decided at some point we needed a museum. And they went gung-ho in the beginning, and then it kind of died for a while, and it's been picked up recently, and we are doing a fabulous job raising money, but we do need everybody's help in supplying us with some of the old equipment and the jump stories that they remember, because if we don't get that soon, we're going to lose all our history, which is so valuable. One of the things that we did, which is a very interesting story to me, was in 2010 we had a little party and fundraiser in DeLand, Florida for Kittinger's 50th anniversary. And PIA did a display, and we had mannequins dressed in gear from the 60s all the way through the 80s, and then I think the present. And the interesting part about it is people would walk in and look at the gear. In the 60s gear, the old jumpers would say, "Yeah, I jumped that." The new jumpers would say, "Who in their right mind would jump with that?" And it was just, listening to the stories and what people had said was just, it was just so much fun, and this is something that we want to continue to record so that we have it for our future. Right now, I'm still treasurer of the Parachute Industry Association, which at one point they needed a treasurer, and it was supposed to be a 6-month job. Well, 22 years later, I'm still treasurer and enjoying it, and enjoying to see where the sport has come and how the improvements have been made in the sport. And hopefully that someday with the tandem jumps that we'll get more people participating in not only tandem jumps, but that will stay in the sport and continue on, because I think it's one sport that you'll meet people that are just so fantastic that they'll be your friends forever.